Hey, what's up, guys? It's Weekend here. This is a champion specific matchup guide that people have been requesting. The first episode will be on Jax. These will be the runes that I'll be running against Jax most of the times. Arcane Comet, as you guys heard, Comet has been surging in popularity after the area nerfs. It's certainly a solid keystone on Camille against champions that you can't really straight up out trade. So you're more looking for poke from your W with your Arcane Comet, and since Comet can pretty much be guaranteed to hit from your E or W unless the enemy dashes, it's a pretty solid mastery against Jax. Mana Full Ben, it's amazing mastery on Camille. Pretty much fixes your mana issue, and the fact that if you take mana full bend, it makes it so that you don't have to buy a corrupting potion to begin with, and you can start Doran Shield, which is in my opinion, a much stronger buy than a corrupting potion. And you for the second sorcery tree, you can either go Transcendence or Celerity. I actually really like Celerity, just for the kiting against the Jax. Movement speed matters quite a bit in this matchup, so I actually really like that matchup. And Transcendence, although it does scale well, does not really help you pre 10 minutes. Scorch, it's really strong mastery for laning, combined with your Arcane Comet. You're going to be doing a lot of poke damage with Scorch. For secondary, you can take Precision, go Triumph, Alacrity route. This is a pretty good setup. If you are feeling a little more scared, I would say Resolve with Armor and get Second Wind is also good. Reason why I prefer the Precision one is because I'm pretty experienced in this matchup, and especially with the Doran Shield start, with your W, poke and sustain, Second Wind in my opinion isn't really necessary, but this is also a fine rune page to run. Now let's talk about build path against Jax. As a first item, you want to start with a Doran Shield, and on your first back, you want to try to get a Phage, if not the components to Phage, if possible. This is mostly because rushing a Sheen is not really effective against Jax due to his counter strike, and also Jax is a pretty tough matchup for Camille, so having that extra health from Phage is definitely helpful. And going Sheen leaves you very vulnerable to dives, and overall, Phage is the best Trinity Force component to go first. The next item, I would say, unless you are doing very well in lane, if you have a kill or two, I would say Tabbies is a very strong item to get, especially if the enemy jungler is also AD champion. Tabbies works very well against Jax, and I would definitely recommend finishing at Tabbies before Triforce unless you are snowballing very well. And now you want to finish up your Trinity Force after that, and once you get that, don't be too cocky. If Jax also has Trinity Force and Camille also has Trinity Force, Jax will be able to 1v1 you, so you still have to be careful. After that, you want to get a Tiamat. This is for the wave clear. Camille doesn't have the best wave clear built into her kit, so definitely need a Tiamat. And the next item might surprise you guys a little bit, but I actually really like to finish Sterix rather than finishing Titanic. You might ask, why would you not just finish Titanic? You already have a Tiamat. In my opinion, Titanic as a completed item is actually not very gold efficient. It gives not too much AD. The active part isn't too impactful in my opinion. So I actually really like finishing up Sterix before Titanic due to the base AD increase that you get from Sterix, and also the massive shield when the passive procs is very nice. You also get 30% tenacity when the shield procs. So I actually have been doing this build a lot. I think it helps you a lot against Jax's all-ins, and also in team fights is better just because you'll be able to get that shield proc and be able to tank a lot of damage. After that, you can finish up your Trinity Force, and this is just the core build. After this is complete, you will want to build situationally. You might need MR if the enemy team has a lot of magic damage. You might need an adaptive helm. GA is also a good purchase, but so far this is the core build to build against Jax. The reason why you don't go Ravenous Hydra is just because Jax is a better split pushing champion than Camille. For most of the game, Camille won't be able to 1v1 Jax in a side lane, so building Ravenous Hydra isn't the best. The way to beat Jax is not to split push against him, but to force fights around the map as a team. Camille generally outperforms Jax due to her superior mobility and utility, so I definitely think this is the best core item build to go against Jax. Now this part will be the actual gameplay. I'm just going to be commentating on the actual laning phase against Jax. So you see here, I leashed Jarvan the blue buff. You start with W against Jax. I do the W on him with the 3 melee creeps, and that's a nice poke. It did about 150 of his health. And level 1, this Jax walks up and E's me. That trade was actually not too bad, just because of the fact that he wasn't able to auto me with the E on, which would have aggroed the range creeps to auto him and increased his counter strike damage. You never want to let a Jax walk up to you level 1 with his E. He will be able to stun you and not let you proc your passive shield and get a really good trade on you. And right here, hit level 2, level up my E. No point in leveling up my Q against Jax. E is very essential in this matchup due to the fact that when Jax jumps on you, that's your only line of defense against Jax. You'll see me hugging walls against Jax a lot. The trait pattern against Jax, the fact that his counter strike makes it so that you cannot proc your passive shield, makes it so that it's pretty tough to out trade him if you get stunned. So what ends up happening in this lane is that if Jax jumps on you with counter strike, you want to be hugging the wall even before he jumps on you, so that when he does jump on you, you can E and then knock him back, and that way his counter strike will fizzle out. So now my lane is in a really good spot in terms of where I want it to be. Jax is pretty close to my tower. This is not a range where Jax can be effective. He can't trade very well if he's close to the enemy tower, just because of the fact that he's a champion that does a lot of sustained damage and he can't run me down my lane. So now I poked Jax enough with my W's and my autos that he actually has to back. So now I'm just going to be hard shoving the lane. He will most likely be TPing back, and just like that, I'm actually winning the lane against Jax, which is supposed to be a tough matchup. But I do think that with the new preseason runes, Camille definitely has a better chance against Jax compared to last season, just because of the fact that Fervor, although it was an amazing late game mastery in lane against Jax, you're not going to be really trading autos with Jax. If you're trading a lot of autos with Jax in lane, you will be most likely losing that trade. So the fact that Arcane Comet's in the game now, and it lets you poke the Jax over and over, is actually, in my opinion, has made the matchup much easier for Camille. So right there, you see me queuing a creep, getting my W slow on Jax, and walking up to the Jax, getting my second Q proc off for the huge damage. In this matchup, I actually max E due to the fact that Q usually is not practical, and E is very essential in this matchup in terms of trades, because every time your E's up and Jax jumps on you, you can knock him back with your E and pretty much out trade him. So right here, I'm just doing a lot of harassing under the tower, abusing my passive shield and abusing the tower auto in between the tower autos, and just walking up to the Jax and autoing him. And if he chooses to counter strike, I can just back off. And even if he does get a stun off of me, this won't be too much of a bad trade for me. So right here, I just want to keep poking him and denying him creeps as much as I can. And here walks up, I go for another W. So every time I hit a W, does about 150 of his health. Those really good trades. And if he ever tries to jump on me with Counter Strike like that, I can E, knock him back. He can't stun me, and right here I go for an auto and then W flash and I go kill him. So to rewind that, if we go back in time a little bit, see if I can find the time here. So what I ended up doing in this trade is that when he counter strikes and jumps on me, I knock him back with my E. By doing that, I'm denying him the stun and I'm denying him the stun and I'm able to get a massive out trade on him. Well, looks like we won't be able to get the clip. But anyways, that's pretty much how you play against Jax. Jax's sustain is pretty much non-existent other than his corrupting pot. Camille with the setup has a lot of poke, and you just have to watch out for his stuns. If you get caught in the middle of the lane and he jumps on you with Counter Strike up and you are not able to E out in time, you can take a massive beating from Jax. Jax as a champion has much stronger sustained damage DPS compared to Camille, and when you're trading with Jax, you never want to take extended trades. You just want to take short trades where you poke and you just wither him down until he's low enough that he's forced to either back or you can solo kill him just like I did. And at this point, I have a Phage and a Boots. The thing about Jax is that even if you get ahead of Jax, you should never be underestimating him, just because of the fact that, as I said, his sustained damage is much stronger than Camille, and you never want to get cocky after a kill or two and try to just fight the Jax head on and end up losing the fight and throwing away your lead. In this matchup, getting a Trinity Force before Jax obviously helps out a lot in the dueling, but even a Jax with a Phage and a Sheen compared to Camille's Trinity Force can actually 1v1 the Camille. And this is mostly due to the fact that Camille's level 6, her ultimate is not really a combat ultimate, it's more of a utility ultimate, and Jax's ultimate is amazing for dueling. So just be aware of getting too overzealous and throwing away your lead against the Jax. And that pretty much covers up the laning phase. In terms of post laning phase, how you play as Camille is, if you're super ahead of the Jax, you can try to split push and 1v1 him. But otherwise, most of the times you're just going to be looking to farm up and look for TPs, look for roams due to your superior mobility and lockdown. Camille actually does outperform Jax in teamfights in my opinion. She's much harder to kite compared to Jax, and she can get as tanky, if not tankier than Jax. So right here it was a nice play. I ultimate the Warwick to dodge his ult, and we're able to pick up some kills. But anyways, back on the team fighting topic, Jax's win condition is definitely to split push against Camille, and you just don't want to play into the win condition of the enemy. Your win condition in this lane is to team fight rather than just split push against Jax, and as long as you do that, you'll be able to do pretty decently against Jax. So the main takeaway in this lane, walls are your friends. Always try to hug walls early game. Watch out for the Counter-Strike trades. You can take a pretty severe beating from Jax if you're not careful. And overall, I think this matchup is tough for Camille, but definitely not a matchup that is impossible. I would say it's maybe 65% favored for Jax, but I do think that with the addition of the new runes, this matchup has become easier. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys hope this helped out in terms of laning against Jax. I know a lot of people have trouble laning against Jax a couple times. So here, although I said Tabby's is the better purchased in Sheen. Since I'm so ahead of the Jacks, I have 2 kills and I also got first blood. I decided to just finish up a Triforce first. And yeah, thank you for watching the video, guys. If you guys liked it, I'll be making some more matchup guides in the future. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to see. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and hope you guys have a nice day.